Shabbat Shalom. Okay. We have come to Parashat Ekev.
Would you pause for a minute?
Are we going to have some music?
I didn't bring it.
Well, that needs
We'll try
time.
that. We'll try putting that in there next week and see how it goes. Parsha Ekev. Ekev means because. And we're going to look at Devarim chapter 7, 12 through 13. And title of this, and it shall be because you hearken. Let's talk to our Elohim, and then we'll take a look at our Torah portion. Heavenly Father, thank you for this time that we have together to study your word. And we ask that you will open our eyes, open our ears, and our hearts, so that we can see, hear, and understand what your word has to tell us. And we thank you for everything. In the name of Yahshua. Amen.
Did you get a pen?
Okay. Yeah. Here you go.
I'm good. Yeah.
Oh, you got one now? Okay. All right. So,
All right.
this parasha kind of, as a whole, speaks about the blessings that will come from keeping the commandments in the Promised Land. In this, we read about the rebukes that Moses gives to the people, recalling the whole golden calf thing. He recalls the rebellion of Korah, and he recalls the sin of the spies within this Torah portion. And Moses reminds the people how Elohim fed them with manna, and it is in this parsha that we find the verse, man does not live on bread alone, but by the utterance of Elohim's mouth does man live. Also in this parsha, the children of Israel are commanded to destroy the idols of the lands of the former residents that they're about to occupy. And it's an interesting point in this parsha is the warning that the people receive not to become haughty or proud, and begin to believe that by my power and the might of my hand I have become wealthy. And what's interesting is that to be humble is not a commandment found in Torah. We have to do it on our own in order for humility to be real. This parsha also describes the adverse results of not keeping the commandments, famine, exile, and it also talks about the rewards for keeping the commandments. We learn about prayer within this Torah portion. We also learn about the resurrection of the dead in the world to come in this Torah portion. So we're going to take a look at two verses, verses 12 and 13 of chapter 7. And hopefully it'll help us to better understand our relationship not only with Yahweh, our Elohim, but also with one another. And we're also going to take a look at this first set of blessings and what exactly those mean to us. So, verse 12 says, and it shall be, because you hearken to these ordinances, and keep and do them, that Yahweh Elohecha shall keep with you the covenant and the mercy which he swore unto your fathers. Remember, Elohecha, this is a word that's speaking to the whole, while at the same time speaking to each individual person. So it's your Elohim talking to us individually in this. We start with Vechaya. It's the word that begins the verse, and it means, and it shall be. The word Chaya is the root of the name of Yahweh. And the phrase Vechaya has the same gematria, 26, as the name Yahweh. Keep this in mind. Let's consider the next word, which is Ekev. That doesn't mean simply because. This is not the primary meaning of this word. This word actually means both consequence and reward. The root of this word is akab, that means to supplant and to circumvent. So we'll keep that in mind too, and we're going to consider the next word, which is tishme'un, meaning you hearken. The root of this word is shema. Hear, perceive, discern, understand, obey, apply, and be content. Then our verse says, these ordinances, as well as and keep and do them. What are these? What are these ordinances? I ask a question. Are these the 613 mitzvot that we find in Torah? Well, at this point, all 613 mitzvot found in Torah haven't been given. We haven't reached all the mitzvot in Torah since we're simply at this point in Devarim. So, what are these ordinances? We'll go back to the word ekev, the word that we use for because, and take a closer look. Its gematria is the ayin. Its numerical value is 70. The kof, its numerical value is 100. And the beit, its numerical value is 2. So if we add up all of these, we have 172. There are 172 words in the Ten Commandments. Whose commandments? Bechaya, and it shall be. It was Yahweh who told Moses, I shall be what I shall be. His name holds the same gematria as this word. So these commandments are of Yahweh Elohim, given to the children of Israel directly from Yahweh Elohim when they stood at the foot of the mount and heard his voice speak to them. We are to keep and to do them. The word keep is ushemartem, that means not only to keep, but from the root shamar, also means to guard, to observe, and to pay attention. So to keep the commandments, we guard, we observe, and pay attention. Shamar is the root of the word Shema, which we know by now what Shema means. The word for do them is vaisitem, that not only means to do, but it also means to be made. So this is an interesting concept in that we don't simply do the commandments of Yahweh Elohim, but they make us, as in they make us who we are, not only in our own eyes, but in the eyes of others that see us. And not only in that, but most importantly, they make us who we are in the eyes of Yahweh Elohim. We made a comment several months ago that it's through his Torah that we are judged. We say, well, how does he judge us through his Torah? It's because we learn, we're instructed what actions we are to take, and Elohim watches to see if we're following the instructions. So that's a very important point, that it makes us who we are in the eyes of Elohim as well. It is in the commandments of Yahweh Elohim that we find both reward and consequence, which we find are also the meaning of the word ikev. The word for these ordinances is kamishpatim, from its root mishpat. That doesn't mean ordinance, really. It means judgment, as in the act of judging a case. The root of this word is shapat, that means to judge and to govern, as well as to vindicate and to punish. This is a very important thing to understand, that it is based on these 10 commandments given by Yahweh Elohim that we are to be governed, or govern our lives, because it is also by these that we will judge and receive vindication or punishment. The word mishpat, interestingly enough, also means to receive a verdict. So it means judgment, but it also means to receive a verdict. And we can confirm this by considering the very words of Yahshua when he was asked by the Pharisees what the most important commandment was. To which Yahshua responded, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh your Elohim, Yahweh is one, and you will love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. And the second is just like it, that you will love your neighbor as yourself. Then he makes this comment, there is no commandment greater than these. Then he goes on to say, because Matthew gives us the rest of the, or Matthew gives us the rest of the story. That was Mark that we just read. Matthew gives us the rest of the story. that he adds to this. He says, the whole Torah and the prophets depend on these two commandments. The whole Torah and the prophets depend on these two commandments that Joshua gave to us. So if we say that Joshua was and is our example of how to keep Torah, we must consider what he did. He ministered to the poor, physically and spiritually. He fed the hungry. He cared for the widows and the fatherless. He healed the sick, the lame, the leper, and the blind. He cast out evil spirits, and he raised the dead. You say, well, we don't do all that stuff. But in a sense, yes, we do. Because when we picture raising the dead, well, we don't raise dead people, unless you're a paramedic and you can do all that wonderful stuff. We don't raise dead people. How do we raise the dead? Have you ever had someone that came to you that was so absolutely, totally down that they didn't want to go on anymore? And you sat and you talked to them and you helped them to understand that things can be better than they are. In a sense, that's raising the dead. You've revived that person to life. So it's not just these things. He showed love. He kept the commandments. I lost my place. But that's okay. Why? Because the commandments say so. Because the Torah says, love your neighbor as yourself and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In this we can understand the balance of the verse that says that Yahweh Elohecha shall keep with you the covenant and the mercy which he swore unto your fathers. Joshua backs this up at Matthew 25:40 when he says, the king will answer them, most certainly I tell you, because you did this to one of the least of my brothers, you did it unto me. And this is the story that he's talking about, the king that will come. And he'll divide the lambs on one side and the goats on the other side. And the lambs, he said, when I was thirsty, you gave me to drink. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was sick, you came and saw me. When I was in prison. You know what I'm saying? And they say, when? We don't remember. And he said, because you did this to the least of my brethren, you did it to me. But on the other side, he also said it to these other people. When I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was thirsty, you didn't give me anything to drink. When I was naked, you didn't clothe me, etc., etc. And these people say, when did we not feed you when you were hungry? When did we not clothe you when you were naked? When did we not give you a drink? As in the arrogance. I want you to recognize how great I am. And he says to them, depart from me and be cast out. So this is a very important thing, that we do the commandments, we follow the commandments, because we never know who it is that we're helping. We never know who it is that we're showing hospitality to. Lot didn't know who these people were that showed up in the town square, but he offered them hospitality. Abraham didn't know who these three visitors were, but he went out and fixed them an extravagant meal, washed their feet, and told them to find comfort in the shade. So, whatever we do to the least of our brethren, we do unto him. This is why it's so important to understand these commandments. Now, what are the blessings that we are to receive in keeping the commandments of our Elohim? So we take a look at verse 13. That said, and he will love you and bless you and multiply you. He will also bless the fruit of your body and the fruit of your land, your grain and your wine and your oil, the increase of your cattle and the young of your flock, in the land which he swore unto your fathers to give you. So first of all, we have to consider love. What is the love that Elohim shows us, and what can we learn from this love? Well, this is unconditional, but at the same time is conditional. And I say, how do you do that? We seek his commandments. We show our love to him through the commandments. We believe and receive Yahshua. In return, we have the authority to be called the children of Elohim and to receive back the reward of this love that Elohim gives us. But Paul, in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, starting at verse 4, sums up a lot about love. Love is patient. Is Elohim patient? I would have to say that he's probably extremely patient, giving my knowledge of myself, knowing who I am, he's very patient. He is kind. Love is not envious. Love does not shout loudly. Love is not boastful. It does nothing that causes shame and seeks not her own. It's not passionate and thinks no evil. It does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Bears all things, believes all things, hopes for all things, and endures all things. Love will never cease. And we see the qualities of Elohim within those things, that we should understand what the love of our Elohim is. He loved us in such a way that he was willing to send his word in physical form to shed blood that didn't need to be shed in order for us to have an opportunity to have life if we would believe and receive. He gave us another chance, and another chance, and another chance. And this one was the top. This one was the last chance. So, he loves us. These attributes of love that we consider in the context of a relationship with one another is the same love that attributes that Yahweh Elohim shows to us, or the same attributes that Yahweh Elohim shows to us. When we consider the word bless, we take it for granted. What does blessed mean? What is a blessing? So Webster's dictionary defines it as being protected and cared for, and being provided with things good and desirable. And things include circumstances and situations. In the words "and multiply," we have a word, Rebecca, that means to make great and to make prosperous more than it means numerous. The next phrase to consider, now that hopefully we have a grasp of what blessed means, is that he will also bless the fruit of our body. So what in the world does that mean? The word for fruit is uperi, which literally would read your fruit. The word used for fruit of your is uperi. Okay, we've done. Peri means fruit, but it comes from the word para that means to bear fruit or to be fruitful. So what is it to bear fruit or to be fruitful? We take a concept that we begin a project, and with proper care and planning, this project is successful. It bears fruit for us. It brings about advances. It brings about people ooh and ah over the project. It gets us the raise that we want. It gets us to where we're going. We've been fruitful by doing this project. So, keeping this in mind, we're going to consider the next word that's used for your body. King Jimmy says your womb. This word is betenecha. That doesn't mean body as much as it means belly. This word literally means something hollow. And if we consider this, we can consider an idea that the blessing of Yahweh Elohim will fill up our emptiness with fruitfulness and success. This is one of those blessings, that our emptiness will be filled with blessing and success. This phrase, however, holds a paradox in that we must be careful to keep our eyes focused on Yahweh through his word and not become haughty, as we learned earlier, saying, look what I have created. Your success, if found in the blessing of Yahweh, your success is found in the blessing of Yahweh Elohim.